You walk into a room and something shifts. The air thickens, conversations pause, eyes subtly turn toward you. You haven't said a word, yet people already feel something. It's not about beauty, height, or status. It's presence. That invisible gravity that makes others unconsciously straighten their posture when you enter. The question is, does your presence command respect or invite dismissal? Most people believe respect is earned through words, achievements, or time. They think it's something to be negotiated, a reward given after years of effort. But the Stoics knew something deeper. Respect doesn't begin with what you say. It begins long before that, in the silence before the first word. It begins with how you show up. Your presence speaks. Before your voice is heard, before your ideas are understood, your body is already delivering a message. It's telling a story about who you are, what you tolerate, and how much you value yourself. The Stoics called this alignment, the harmony between one's inner state and outer expression. When your body contradicts your mind, people believe your body every time. There's a vast difference between pretending to be confident and embodying confidence. The first is performance, fragile, dependent on validation. The second is essence. It radiates without needing attention. Pretending confidence is like painting armor on thin glass. It looks strong until pressure hits. True Stoic presence, on the other hand, is silent steel beneath calm eyes. It doesn't shout. It doesn't compete. It simply is. Epictetus once said, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." But he wasn't only talking about words. If he were alive today, he'd tell you, first learn the meaning of what your body says, and then move. Every gesture, every glance, every step is philosophy in motion. It reveals whether you're ruled by the world or by yourself. When your posture aligns with your principles, when your gaze matches your calm, and when your movements echo your intent, you stop performing respect and start commanding it. People sense something unspoken. The stillness of someone who doesn't chase approval, the steadiness of someone who already owns their worth. This isn't manipulation. It's not about looking powerful or tricking others into admiration. It's about authenticity, the kind the Stoics trained for their entire lives. Marcus Aurelius didn't seek applause. He sought alignment between thought and action. Seneca didn't preach confidence. He lived it in restraint and composure. That's what real power feels like. Quiet, deliberate, inevitable. So, before you say another word, pause. Ask yourself, what story is my body telling before my mouth opens? Because in that story, the way you walk, the way you breathe, the way you occupy space, people have already decided whether you deserve respect. If you're ready to stop asking for it and start embodying it, if you're ready to align your physical presence with Stoic self-mastery, then welcome. You've already taken the first step. This is true Stoic way, where presence becomes power, silence becomes language, and respect begins long before you speak. Let's begin. Move number 1, slow everything down. In a world addicted to speed, the rarest form of power is patience. People rush because they're afraid of losing time, afraid of silence, afraid that if they don't move fast enough, the world will forget them. But speed signals anxiety. Slowness signals control. When you slow down, you're sending a message, not just to others but to yourself. I am not ruled by the tempo of the world. The world moves around me. Every movement, every pause, every breath is a rhythm, and humans are wired to follow rhythm. In any room, there's always someone who unconsciously sets the pace. If your heartbeat races, if your gestures flicker and your words tumble over each other, you're syncing yourself to the collective nervousness of the crowd. But when you move slower than everyone else, not lazily, but deliberately, something powerful happens. People begin to adjust to your rhythm. You become the metronome of the environment. It's biology. Mirror neurons in the brain are designed to synchronize with what they see. When you slow your speech, others subconsciously mirror it. When you take your time before responding, they wait. Your composure regulates their tension. It's one of the oldest forms of dominance, not through aggression, but through still authority. I learned this from my father. Years ago, he was negotiating the sale of his business. The buyers came in with sharp suits, fast talk, quick glances at their watches. Their goal was obvious: to overwhelm him with urgency. They wanted him reactive, pressured, chasing their tempo. My father didn't play their game. He moved like time belonged to him. When they asked a question, he paused. 3 seconds of silence that felt like an eternity in that room. When he stood up to grab a document, he did it as if every step had weight. No hurry, no wasted motion. When signing papers, he read every line at his natural pace, while they fidgeted in their seats, glancing at one another, trying to contain their impatience. And then, something changed. Within an hour, the room's energy shifted. The fast talkers grew quieter. Their questions slowed. Their urgency melted into patience. Without saying a word, he had taken control of time. He wasn't following their rhythm. They were following his. That's the hidden power of slowness. It's not weakness, it's gravitational. You don't chase the moment, you own it. You see this same energy in leaders who command attention the moment they walk in. They don't rush through doors or talk over others. They pause before they speak, look around the room, and make you wait half a second longer than you expect. That pause, that micro delay, tells everyone, this person is not rushed by the world. A teacher who quiets a noisy class without raising her voice. A warrior who walks toward the battlefield without haste. A CEO who listens longer than anyone else before making one precise comment. All of them share the same invisible power. They've slowed down their nervous system until the world moves at their pace. So how do you practice this? Start small. Start. Tomorrow, walk 20% slower. Not in arrogance, but in awareness. Feel your steps. Notice who speeds up, who slows down. In conversations, pause for 2 full seconds before responding. You'll feel the urge to fill the silence. Resist it. When you reach for something, do it half as fast. Let your movement finish cleanly before beginning another. When someone speaks to you, let their words land fully before you move your lips. That second of silence tells them, I think before I respond. Soon, you'll begin to notice something subtle. People mirror your rhythm. The room softens. Time feels like it bends around you. You've become the calm center of motion, not because you forced anyone, but because you regulated yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Extend that wisdom to your body. You have power over your pace, not outside urgency. In a world full of noise, your calm becomes a signal. When you move slowly, you're not falling behind, you're standing apart. You've commanded time. But time is only the first dimension of presence. To truly own the room, you must also command something deeper, the space you stand in. Move number 2, claim your space unapologetically. Picture 2 people walking into the same room. The first one folds inward, shoulders slightly hunched, arms tucked in, eyes darting for a safe corner. Their steps whisper, "I'm sorry for being here." The second person walks in differently. They stand tall, their shoulders open, movement steady, gaze relaxed. They don't take space aggressively but naturally, as if the ground itself welcomes their weight. No words are spoken, yet everyone in the room can feel the difference. Most people apologize with their body long before they ever open their mouths. They make themselves smaller, as if the less visible they are, the safer they'll feel. But safety has a cost. It robs you of presence. The Stoics knew that how you carry your body teaches others how to treat you. And in every species on Earth, from lions to humans, space equals authority. Space is biology. Every creature understands territory. Wolves raise their tails and expand their stance when asserting dominance. Birds spread their wings. Even trees fight for sunlight by reaching higher, claiming air. Humans are no different. We read body expansion as confidence, contraction as submission. When you shrink your body, you shrink your voice, your ideas, your perceived worth. But when you expand, not arrogantly, but comfortably, you broadcast self-assurance that no words can replace. For years, I didn't understand this. In meetings, I used to sit on the edge of my chair, hands folded, legs tightly crossed, like I was ready to leave at any moment. I'd keep my notes in a neat little pile, never spreading out, always giving others more table space. When walking down hallways, I'd hug the wall, stepping aside for everyone, even when I had the right of way. I thought I was being polite, but in truth, I was communicating one silent message. My existence takes up too much room. And people believed that message. They interrupted me mid-sentence. They talked over me. Decisions were made around me, not with me. I had unknowingly trained the world to treat me as optional. Then one day, something inside me snapped. I realized I had spent years apologizing for existing. That night, I promised myself one thing. I would no longer fold to fit into spaces too small for my worth. So I started reclaiming space, one gesture at a time. In meetings, I spread my notebook, my phone, and my coffee across the table. I leaned back in my chair instead of perching forward. I rested one arm on the armrest, one on the table. When I stood, I planted my feet shoulder-width apart, evenly balanced, like a rooted oak that had no plans to move. When I walked, I took the center of the hallway, not the edge. And when someone tried to squeeze past, I didn't shrink. I simply paused, smiled, and let them move around me. At first it felt uncomfortable, even rebellious. I could feel old habits pulling me inward again, whispering, "Don't draw attention." But I ignored them. Within 2 weeks, the shift was unmistakable. Colleagues started waiting for my opinion. People stopped interrupting. Someone even slid their materials aside during a meeting to make room for mine. That had never happened before. That's the power of spatial respect. When you claim your physical space, you activate an ancient recognition in the human brain. This person values themselves. They're not here to compete, they're here to belong. And when your body communicates belonging, people unconsciously grant you authority. Seneca once wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." The same applies to presence. You don't build commanding presence by avoiding discomfort. You polish it through the friction of being seen. Each time you refuse to shrink, you're refining your self-worth under pressure. You're turning your discomfort into dignity. So here's your quiet challenge. Next time you walk into a room, take the seat that feels slightly too visible. When standing, let your shoulders drop back, chin level, hands visible, not fidgeting, not hiding. When sitting, take the full chair. Don't curl into the edges. When speaking, let your gestures open up, not to dominate, but to inhabit. Claiming space isn't about arrogance, it's about permission. The permission to exist without apology. And if you've spent too many years trying to fit small to make others comfortable, this is your moment to expand. If you're done apologizing for existing, comment, "I take space" below. Someone else might need your courage to do the same. Because when you consistently claim your space, something subtle but powerful happens. People don't just see you, they start to listen. Your body tells them, "I belong here. My presence has value." And they believe it. You've mastered time by slowing it down. Now, you've mastered space by owning it. But respect doesn't end there. The next step is subtler and far more powerful. It's time to command attention through the quiet precision of your eyes. Move number 3. Control your eye contact. Your eyes are weapons of respect. They can comfort or confront, invite or intimidate, command or collapse. The way you look at someone communicates everything about your self-possession, long before you say a word. Used without awareness, your eyes betray insecurity or aggression, but used with intention, they radiate calm strength. Here's the truth the Stoics would have understood. Eye contact isn't about dominance, it's about presence. You're not trying to overpower someone with your gaze, you're simply allowing them to feel the steadiness of your attention. Presence says, "I see you, but I am not seeking you." It is equal parts awareness and detachment. I learned this through my sister's story. For 2 years, she went through a string of job interviews that all ended the same way, polite rejections. Every time she spoke about the experience, I could hear the self-doubt behind her words. "Maybe I'm not confident enough," she'd say. But it wasn't her answers that betrayed her. It was her eyes. In the beginning, whenever an interviewer asked a difficult question, her eyes would dart downward. When she wanted approval, they'd cling too long to the interviewer's face, searching for reassurance. It wasn't intentional. It was instinct. Her gaze was begging for acceptance. She didn't realize that every flicker of uncertainty, every glance away at the wrong time was whispering, "I'm not sure of myself." Then she changed one thing. She learned a Stoic-inspired framework, 70-50. When listening, maintain eye contact 70% of the time. When speaking, hold it for 50%. At first it sounded mechanical, but the psychology behind it is profound. Maintaining eye contact while listening releases oxytocin, the neurochemical of trust. It tells the other person, "Your words matter to me." It makes them feel valued, safe, heard. When speaking, reducing eye contact to half allows dopamine and mirror neurons to create rhythm and reflection. You're not performing, you're thinking. That balance makes people feel your confidence without feeling your control. So she practiced. She'd sit in front of a mirror every night and rehearse conversations with herself. When she listened, she kept her gaze soft and steady, not rigid, not staring. When she spoke, she'd look away briefly to the side, as if considering her thoughts, then return her eyes to the mirror for the key point. It was subtle, but powerful. She was retraining her nervous system to associate eye contact with composure, not fear. In her next round of interviews, everything changed. She didn't talk more. She didn't change her resume. She simply changed her eyes. When listening, her attention was calm and anchored. When speaking, her gaze flowed naturally, a rhythm of connection and reflection. Interviewers began leaning in when she talked. They nodded, waited, listened. One of them even said afterward, "You seemed so sure of your experience." Same experience, same qualifications, different presence. Her eyes had stopped asking for validation and started commanding attention. Epictetus taught, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Applied here, it means, don't try to prove confidence through words. Show it through where you choose to look. Because where you look is what you value. When you lock eyes with someone as they speak, you're saying, "I value understanding." When you look away thoughtfully as you explain, you're saying, "I value reflection more than reaction." That's the Stoic gaze. Intentional, not intense. Unattached, but fully present. It doesn't stare to dominate or drop to submit. It moves like water, calm, precise, deliberate. If you want to train it, stand in front of a mirror tonight. Hold your own gaze for 5 seconds. Then look away, not down, just away, for a moment. Then return. Feel the shift inside you. Notice how your mind reacts. Does it crave approval or does it project peace? The first gaze is needy. The second is noble. When your eyes learn to hold attention without hunger, you'll start noticing something remarkable. People stop interrupting you, stop doubting you, stop testing you. They simply listen, because your gaze has weight now. And once your gaze holds weight, your silence will too. Move number 4. Use strategic pauses and the power of silence. Silence isn't emptiness, it's gravity. Most people run from it. They fear the gap between words like it's a void that might expose them. When a conversation pauses, anxiety rushes in, the desperate need to fill the space with, like, or nervous laughter. But silence, in the hands of someone composed, becomes magnetic. It doesn't repel, it pulls. When you master silence, you master attention. Because the truth is, silence creates weight, and weight commands respect. The human mind hates uncertainty. When you stop speaking, even for a few seconds, you trigger a primitive reflex in others, the need to resolve tension. Their focus locks onto you. They wait for your next move. This is why confident people don't rush to fill the void. They let it breathe. They know silence isn't weakness, it's composure given form. I learned this lesson watching my mentor, Dr. Patricia, lead faculty meetings for 3 years. She was never the loudest in the room, but she always had the most authority. In the beginning, I couldn't figure out why. Then I noticed her secret. She used silence like punctuation. Picture it, a long conference table, a dozen restless colleagues, the hum of air conditioning barely masking side conversations. Dr. Patricia would begin calmly explaining a new policy, and halfway through her sentence, she'd stop. No words, just 2, maybe 3 seconds of absolute stillness. The room would tense, eyes lifted from phones, pens stopped tapping. The silence had weight, like the air itself leaned forward. Then she'd continue, same calm tone, same pace, as if nothing had happened. But everyone was listening now. After she made a key point, she wouldn't move on immediately. She'd pause again, 3 seconds of deliberate stillness, letting the idea settle in the minds of everyone present. That space made her words feel twice as important. People didn't dare interrupt those silences. They felt too meaningful to break. I once asked her if those pauses were intentional. She smiled. "Of course," she said. "Most people fight silence because they're uncomfortable with it. But when you stop fearing silence, you start controlling the room." That's exactly what she did. She spoke less than anyone else but guided every discussion. Whenever someone asked a question, she'd wait 2 full seconds before responding. Not because she didn't know the answer, but because that pause signaled, "I'm considering this carefully." The longer she paused, the more serious the moment became. It was fascinating to watch. The more she embraced silence, the quieter the rest of us became. People began respecting her time between words as much as the words themselves. Silence wasn't a gap anymore. It was power. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." But Stoics would extend that even further. We have silence and words so we can use silence twice as wisely. Words deliver information. Silence delivers presence. Here's how to practice this art. Mid-sentence pause. After an important statement, stop for 1 or 2 seconds. It creates anticipation. People lean in. Post-statement pause. When you finish a thought, let it rest. Count to 3 silently before moving on. Let the weight of your words settle. Pre-response pause. When someone asks you a question, wait 2 full seconds before answering. You're showing that you think before you react. Listening pause. After someone finishes speaking, wait 1 beat before replying. That tiny delay communicates, "I heard you, I'm processing, and I respect what you said." Try this today. The next time you're in conversation, stop mid-sentence once. You'll feel the discomfort, the urge to rush back in. But stay still. Notice how they don't interrupt. They wait. That waiting is respect being born in real time. Silence separates the reactive from the deliberate, the frantic from the composed, the uncertain from the grounded. When you use it with intention, people start treating your words as rare, something worth waiting for. If these moves are reshaping how you carry yourself, if you're realizing that confidence isn't loud, but deliberate, hit like and subscribe. We're just getting started, because you've now learned to command time by slowing down, space by owning it, and attention through your gaze. And now, you've added silence, the invisible armor of calm authority. But there's one more challenge ahead. Because even when you've mastered stillness within yourself, the world will still throw chaos at you. And when that happens, how do you hold your ground? Let's find out. Move number 5. Maintain stillness under pressure. What happens when the world panics, and you don't? When tension fills the air, most people start moving faster. Voices rise, hands gesture wildly, hearts race. It's as if chaos demands motion, and stillness becomes impossible. But that's exactly when true power begins. When everyone else shakes, and you remain. Stillness isn't passivity, it's controlled restraint. It's the physical embodiment of a calm mind when the external world trembles. To be still under pressure is to say, "I am not owned by this moment." I saw this principle in its purest form during a family crisis 3 years ago. My aunt had just been diagnosed with a serious illness. The entire family gathered to discuss treatment options, uncles, cousins, siblings, and the atmosphere was thick with panic. The living room that usually felt warm now buzzed with fear and confusion. Everyone spoke at once. One cousin paced back and forth. Another interrupted every sentence. My uncle's voice kept rising as he demanded answers from doctors on the phone. The air itself seemed to vibrate with anxiety. And then, there was my aunt. She sat in the middle of the storm, silent, hands folded gently in her lap, shoulders relaxed, face neutral, but not detached. Her eyes moved from speaker to speaker, listening to every word, but her body didn't flinch. She didn't try to control the noise, she simply refused to join it. At first, no one noticed, but slowly, something strange began to happen. One by one, voices softened. My uncle stopped pacing. My cousin's hands stopped flying. Within minutes, the entire room began to match her energy, calmer, steadier, quieter. Without saying a word, she had shifted the emotional climate of the room. When she finally spoke, her voice was calm and clear. "I've already made my decision," she said. "We'll move forward with treatment, and I'm at peace with it." No one argued, no one interrupted. Her stillness had become contagious, and her composure had become leadership. That's the paradox of stillness. When you stop reacting, others stop spiraling. When you refuse to join the chaos, you become the anchor everyone unconsciously looks to. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The cucumber is bitter, then throw it out. There are brambles in the path, then go around." That's all you need to know. He was teaching emotional minimalism, the art of responding without overreacting. The mountain doesn't fight the storm. It simply remains. From a neurological standpoint, this is where true mastery lies. When we face stress, the sympathetic nervous system activates, the ancient fight or flight response. Heart rate spikes, muscles tighten, breath shortens. It's a survival mechanism, but it's also a trap. Because in modern life, not every storm deserves that reaction. The Stoics discovered a third option thousands of years ago. Neither fight nor flee, but remain. Stoic stillness is this third response, a conscious override of panic. When you slow your breathing, drop your shoulders, and keep your body still, you send a signal to your brain, "I am safe." That message shifts control from your amygdala, the panic center, to your prefrontal cortex, the reasoning center. In other words, calmness is not weakness, it's neurological command. You can practice this anywhere. When someone raises their voice at you, don't mirror them. Stay seated, relax your jaw. Look at them steadily, not challengingly, just present. In an argument when emotions surge, plant your feet. Let your hands rest open. Say less. The stiller you become, the more the situation begins to bend around your calm. When deadlines, chaos, or confrontation hit, pause. Take one deep, slow breath before you move. That's all it takes to reclaim sovereignty over your nervous system. Because the moment you choose stillness, you step outside the noise. You stop dancing to the rhythm of panic and start writing your own tempo. There's a saying among the Stoics, "He conquers twice who restrains himself in victory." But restraint doesn't mean repression. It means direction. You're choosing where your energy flows. Be the mountain in the storm. When winds rage and people lose themselves in reaction, you remain. Your calm becomes their compass. And if this message grounds you, share it with someone who needs peace more than words. Because stillness doesn't mean motionless. It means anchored, unshaken, intentional. But remember this, stillness without direction is incomplete. The next step in mastering presence isn't just to remain calm. It's to move with purpose. Stillness makes you unmovable, but presence without decisiveness is silence without impact. Let's fix that next. Move number 6, decisive movement and gestures. 2 physical therapists. Same training, same experience, same knowledge. Yet one commanded trust, while the other constantly got questioned. The difference wasn't in skill, it was in movement. I saw this contrast vividly while my mother recovered from knee surgery. The first therapist, David, was kind and professional, but something about him made people uneasy. When he reached for equipment, his hand would stop halfway, then pull back, like he was second-guessing himself. His gestures were incomplete. He'd start showing an exercise, then restart, then adjust mid-motion. Even when explaining simple movements, his hands fluttered nervously, making half circles in the air. He didn't realize it, but his body was broadcasting a silent confession. "I'm not sure." My mother picked up on it immediately. She asked him to repeat instructions again and again, double-checked his guidance, even questioned his confidence, though she couldn't explain why. She wasn't doubting his knowledge, she was responding to his uncertainty. Then came Maria, the second therapist. She moved differently. When she reached for a resistance band, her motion was smooth and complete, no hesitation. When demonstrating an exercise, her gestures had rhythm, full extension, controlled return, deliberate transitions. When she explained recovery steps, her hands drew clean, confident lines in the air, one gesture per point. She didn't rush, she didn't fidget, and every movement had an end. Within minutes, the energy in the room changed. My mother mirrored her calmness, trusted her instantly, and followed every instruction without question. Same words, same protocol, completely different outcome. Why? Because unfinished gestures signal uncertainty, but decisive movement signals authority. In Stoic philosophy, this is more than body language. It's integrity made visible. Epictetus taught, first learn the meaning of what you say and then speak. Applied here, it becomes, first decide what you'll do and then move. No half measures, no hesitation, no nervous corrections. The Stoic doesn't act to appear confident, he acts from clarity. His gestures are the reflection of a settled mind. Think about the people who naturally command respect. A soldier giving orders with sharp, precise hand signals. A speaker who raises their hand once to make a point, holds it, then lowers it deliberately. A leader who turns their entire body and not just their head to address someone. Every motion tells the same story. I know what I'm doing, and I mean it. You don't need to move fast to be decisive. You just need to move completely. Each gesture should have a clear beginning, middle, and end, like a sentence with a period, not an ellipsis. When you point, hold it for a beat, then return to neutral. When you reach for something, move directly. No circling, no mid-course corrections. When you walk, take the straight path. When you sit or stand, do it in one smooth motion, not a shuffle. To train this, imagine a gesture box, the space between your shoulders and your waist, within the width of your body. Keep most of your gestures here. Wild gestures outside this box look frantic. Tight, hidden gestures look timid. Controlled gestures in this box look deliberate, grounded, and powerful. Now practice. Pick up an object, a pen, a cup, your phone. Reach for it in one motion. Feel the difference between moving directly and moving hesitantly. The first feels clear. The second feels fragmented. Next, stand up from your chair, slowly, but in one complete movement. No fidgeting, no half rise. That's what decisiveness feels like physically. Your body should mirror your mind. Intentional, not impulsive. Every time you move, you're telling the world something about your inner state. People may not notice consciously, but subconsciously, they read you. And they decide, almost instantly, whether to trust you or not. When your gestures match your conviction, your words start carrying more weight. When your actions align with your thoughts, your presence becomes undeniable. This is what Epictetus meant by living in harmony between what you believe and what you do. Decisive movement isn't just about communication, it's about integrity. These 6 moves together, slowing your tempo, claiming your space, controlling your gaze, mastering silence, embodying stillness, and moving decisively, form the physical language of Stoic self-possession. When you speak this language fluently, respect isn't something you chase, it's something you become. Respect isn't something you demand, it's something you embody. It doesn't come from shouting louder, proving harder, or chasing validation. It comes from quiet mastery, from aligning the body, mind, and soul into one steady rhythm. Over the course of these 6 moves, you've learned what the Stoics already knew thousands of years ago. Presence is philosophy in motion. Every gesture, every pause, every glance, it all tells the world who you are long before you speak. When you slow your tempo, you reclaim time. When you claim your space, you declare belonging. When you control your gaze, you direct attention. When you use silence, you command gravity. When you remain still under pressure, you become unshakable. And when you move decisively, you reveal integrity, the harmony between thought and action. Together, these 6 elements form the essence of physical Stoicism. It's not about pretending to be strong, it's about being strong, from the inside out. It's the kind of strength that doesn't need to announce itself because everyone around you can feel it. This is the secret of the truly respected. They don't demand authority. They don't beg for validation. They don't posture. They simply embody clarity, control, and calm, the 3 pillars of Stoic presence. And because they master themselves, they quietly influence everything around them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When your thoughts are calm, your movements follow. When your mind is grounded, your body becomes unshakable. And when your presence aligns with your purpose, you no longer need to ask for respect. You become the living expression of it. That's what this journey is truly about. Not manipulation, not performance, but congruence. The outside matches the inside. Your words match your energy. Your presence matches your principles. That is Stoic power in its purest form. Because here's the truth. People will forget what you said. They might even forget what you did, but they will never forget how your presence made them feel. So from this moment on, let your body tell the story your words never could. Walk slower, breathe deeper, stand taller, speak less, mean more. Be deliberate in motion and silent in confidence. You don't have to dominate the room, just stabilize it. The calmest energy always leads. And remember, respect doesn't begin when others notice you. It begins the moment you decide you no longer need their permission to exist fully. If this message resonates with you, if you're ready to stop performing confidence and start living it, then join the True Stoic Way community. Because becoming unshakable isn't just a mindset, it's a presence. Subscribe now and let your body speak the language of power, peace, and purpose. Your silence, your stillness, your self-command. These are the new forms of strength. And when you master them, you'll never have to demand respect again. You'll simply walk into the room, and everyone will already feel it.